So let's talk about this first, ARV. So after repair value is the estimated value of a property after completed reservations, not in its current condition, right? So what's that mean in layman's terms? The property after repair value is, say, an even number, $100,000 property. If it would be worth $100,000 when it was fixed up, but it needs $20,000 worth of work, that ARV would be $80,000. So it's $100,000 minus repairs equals ARV. This is very important, especially in the flipping game. So with real estate wholesalers, this is important. Flippers, it's even more important because flippers need to buy this property properly at the right price. They need to estimate how much it's going to cost to repair and build in profit. And the profit has to be higher because you're putting a lot of money out of pocket and a lot of time out of pocket. A wholesaler is not really putting that much time or money out of pocket because they're wholesaling the property, so they might have a couple $100 out of pocket. Flippers could have a couple $100,000 out of pocket, and it's crucial to think it through. We'll talk about a couple different scenarios. If you make the wrong purchase and you don't buy it right, you could lose big time. I've talked to some people flip the house. They're like, yeah, I flipped the house. Took me 6 months and I barely got out of it by breaking even. So think about that. Would you want to put up $200,000 or $300,000, 6-month effort to make no money? Everybody's going to fail. Everybody's going to learn. Try to do it once. Better yet, try to learn from someone else's mistake. Number 2, repairs. That is one thing that gets especially inexperienced investors all the time. So you can buy this house for 70% ARV and, which we'll go into 70% ARV in 1 second. You can buy the house properly. And if you misgauge the repairs and don't have a buffer, it could just blow you out of the water. For example, if you go through a property and you miss something like knob and tube wiring, you may have to rewire the whole house even to just get insurance. I bought a property that had low voltage wiring through the entire house. So low voltage means it's not like regular wiring through the entire house. We had to completely pull every single piece of wire in the whole house and replace it. Luckily, I have a good team, so it was called out. But if it was my first property, I might not have noticed that. And what that would mean is if I had like medium profit margins and then something like that popped up, that's an extra $10,000. What if I only had like $10,000, $15,000 profit? Now we got to fix that. Now we're breaking even. So it's things like that. It's things like not expecting once you break into the wall to find problems behind there. A lot of times that happens also. We get into a construction project and I get the phone call. It's like, hey, Brad, you got to stop over here. I go over, we start looking at it. I look and it's behind the wall, it's like something hammered. Even like plumbing issues, like stacks all the time. We break out walls, they're always rusted. In the basement, sometimes we'll rip out walls and then we see the foundations are hammered. Water problems, I see a lot. We do a lot of French drains. I had one property that I bought and I thought the foundation was salvageable and we actually had to replace and rip out the entire foundation. I was not planning on doing that when I bought the property. And luckily, I buy and hold properties, so it didn't matter because I keep them as rentals and the property appreciates. But if I was flipping it, that could be a problem. So last thing is we're going to look at, okay, so a flipper wants to buy the property. They want to pay 70% ARV. So what that means is they're looking at this $100,000 property. If it needs $20,000 in repairs, that takes it down to $80,000. And then the flipper can only give 70% of that. So it's like $56K. And the reason is you have to budget for a 30% profit margin, and maybe you'll make 20% depending on what pops up. So in a nutshell, a flipper is somebody who wants to buy a property from someone who has a problem, put their time and money into the house and fix it, which creates a profit. In a sense, like I said, they are creating money out of thin air.